All right, today we're digging into a really fascinating idea, one that's pulled from an ancient story but feels incredibly relevant. It's a blueprint for relationships that is the total opposite of how a lot of us date today. We're talking about something called the Boaz archetype. Okay, let's just get right to it. Does modern dating ever feel like a game to you? Like a really confusing game where nobody told you the rules? Yeah, you are definitely not alone in that. It's so often described as this high-stakes poker game, right? Everyone's trying to play it cool, nobody wants to show their cards first, and you end up stuck in these vague situationships. It's just a world of ambiguity, ghosting, and we're just seeing where it goes, which, let's be honest, usually means it's going nowhere. But what if there was a completely different way to do things? The source material we're diving into today puts forward this idea of the anti-poker man. This is a person who just refuses to play the game at all. Instead of giving you confusion, he brings clarity. He actually defines the relationship and makes his intentions known. Crystal clear. So, let's really unpack this. We're going to build out this blueprint, starting with the character and the actions of the man in this model. He's an archetype named Boaz from the biblical story of Ruth. According to our source, this whole archetype is built on three solid pillars. First, there's protective authority, the idea of using your strength not to dominate, but to create safety. Then you have that anti-poker intent we just mentioned, a real commitment to being clear. And finally, public integrity, which just means the person you are in public is the exact same person you are in private. This quote, wow, it just perfectly captures that anti-poker mindset. See, when he gets to this huge moment in his relationship with Ruth, Boaz doesn't say, let's see what happens, or I need some space. Nope. He makes a solid promise. I will not rest until the matter is settled today. That is what resolution sounds like. It's the opposite of ambiguity. And this wasn't just some vague emotional promise. He had a clear method. First, he looked at the situation for what it was. He acknowledged the reality of it. Second, he identified the one big obstacle standing in the way. And third, he set a hard deadline for himself, today. It just goes to show that clarity isn't just a personality trait, it's a choice. It's an actionable process. So here's the real heart of the matter. It all comes down to motivation. The story actually gives us a comparison. Another character literally called Mr. So-and-so. His driving question is always, what's in it for me? It's all about self-interest. But Boaz? He asks a fundamentally different question. What does righteousness require? And this table just lays it all out, doesn't it? You can see the two paths so clearly. On one side, you've got the poker face model. It's driven by chemistry and personal freedom, and our source argues it just leads to chaos, insecurity, and heartbreak. But on the other side, you have the Boaz and Ruth archetype. This one's driven by loyal love and duty. They communicate with clarity and they want public accountability. And the outcome? Well, it's rest, legacy, and redemption. Now, let's zoom in on this really cool detail in the story. After that big conversation, Boaz sends Ruth home with a gift. It's 6 measures of barley. Now, you might be thinking, why 6? Seems kind of random. But in ancient stories like this, numbers are almost never an accident. So there's some powerful symbolism going on here. In that worldview, the number 6 represents work, human labor. Like the 6 days of creation. It's the number that comes right before 7, which symbolizes completion and rest, like the Sabbath. So by giving her 6 measures, Boaz wasn't just giving her food for the road. He was sending a tangible, symbolic message. He was basically saying, I'm starting the work now. I'm taking on the labor of this whole process. Your time of striving is over, and your rest is coming. He literally backed up his promise with a physical symbol of it. Okay, let's shift gears a bit because this blueprint isn't just about 2 people in a vacuum. It actually says the community plays a huge role. And let's face it, that's a pretty radical idea in our super individualistic culture today. The source uses this amazing term for it, sanctified meddling. I know, it sounds a little intense, right? But the idea behind it is that the wise, active involvement of mentors and elders and family, it isn't an invasion of privacy. It's actually a vital form of guidance and protection. So what does that actually look like? Well, it means having older, wiser people in your life who can push back against cynicism and give you real strategy, kind of like Ruth's mother-in-law, Naomi, did for her. It means the community is there to witness your commitment, and that public accountability acts like a protective wall around the relationship. Okay, so this brings us to the real takeaways. The source pulls all these ideas together into a kind of action plan for today, and it frames them as 6 measures of wisdom, which is a cool callback to that symbolic gift of barley. So here it is, the wisdom. First, be active in your life, not passive. Second, and this is a big one, learn to value character even more than that spark of chemistry. Third, just say no to poker dating. Commit to clarity and honesty. Fourth, you have to intentionally leave your old unhealthy patterns behind. Fifth, make sure you're aligned on your values around partnership. And finally, number 6, fight that modern urge to keep your relationship private and isolated. Instead, invite your community in. But why? Why go through all this? It sounds like a lot more work than just swiping right. Well, the source argues that the whole purpose is about something way bigger than just finding a spouse. It's about legacy. Think about how the story of Ruth and Boaz actually ends. It's so telling. It doesn't just fade to black after the wedding ceremony. The final chapter isn't about their personal happiness. It's about who came from their relationship. It ends with a family tree. And there it is, the payoff. Their relationship, built on all that stuff, integrity, clarity, community, it became this crucial link in history. It leads directly to King David, the most famous king of Israel. The whole point is that their choices mattered for generations to come. So we'll end with this question to just chew on. The Boaz archetype really challenges us to ask, is my relationship just a private thing for my own fulfillment? Or is it something more, a public act that has the potential to build a lasting, redemptive legacy? It's a really powerful idea to think about.